Dark Shepherd here. I can't really wave my hands at the moment because the model doesn't really work like that. But look, I'm in a different pose and I have a throne now. So yeah, I'm badass. But how to do this, that's kind of what I learned this last week. So it's an interesting setup because these VRMs are actually kind of constructed in Unity. So you actually have to use Unity for this. And it kind of, I don't like Unity. I honestly don't, because, and it's nothing against the engine, it's against the language that the engine uses. I don't like C#. I think it's a stupid language, it's terrible to code in. For some people they love it, I don't like it. But it's mostly because it's too wordy. It's just really, really long names and it's unnecessarily long words. But how this whole concept works. So, there's a video I found to do this by Suvidriel. And this is a really good video that kind of shows how to do it, and they mention how to actually get the chair. The pose itself, as far as sitting is concerned, is not hard to do. So I'm actually going to grab everything in here, if I can remember the control schemes in Unity. Let me go with this, hide that. And so we'll just drag in another version of my model. So how you actually do this is in the poses, you're going to go into the model, and we go to root. How you get the model in here is you actually have to have this VRM extension and then you import. So you import this, or you import your VRM, and it's the same ones we have. So whatever we exported from Vroid Studio, we're going to import that VRM as a VRM object. No, that's not it, but it's a VRM model. So we pull that in, because this defaulted to Unity. But we pull in our VRM model and then we go into the bones. So the bone, it's not like DAZ where we actually have to click on individual bones and move it around, or our blender. We actually have to come into the hierarchy and find the bones. So the right upper leg, then we go to rotate, and then we can actually rotate the leg. And if we're trying to make a sitting pose, we do the same thing. It'd be nice if we had like a mirror function, but we don't. So we just kind of have to eyeball it. And then so we go to the lower leg, and then rotate down. And then on the other one, okay. I hate Unity. Anyway, so now we have a sitting pose. But how do we keep the pose? Because if we export this model, it's not going to work properly. How Suvidriel did it in the video is you actually have to duplicate the bones that you just manipulated. So we would actually have these two, hit Control, and then you right click and then you duplicate. So duplicate, we have these now with the ones. So what we would do now is take these and rename them to, I just named mine to like -org, which is kind of a thing that I normally do. Am I in the way? I can't see. No, I'm not in the way. And then we do it again for this one, so -org. And now we're actually gonna have to come in here and rename all of these bones. It's a very painful process. I'm not gonna go over all of it, but it is worth it. So I do, if you want your Vroid model, like, or whatever, your VTuber model in a different pose, it's definitely worth it. So you have to come in here, and it is a very, I'm going to show you the hierarchy. I'm not going to rename them, but yes, there is a lot of bones, and every third bone has a sub bone. And yes, you have to come in here and rename all of them. And how the naming convention works is it just has to be something that doesn't match. You can't have duplicate bones in the hierarchy. That's the only condition. So you come in here and you grab this bone. Let's just start at the bottom. So this toe base, we just name it something else. So like 01. Just add something to it. It doesn't matter what. Most of these are supposed to be numbered. But you're just going to change the name to where it's not a duplicate ID, because it'll throw an error code. You have to do that for everything in there. Wait, this is under org. That's what. No, that's under this one. But yeah, and then when you do that, you keep the originals, don't delete them, they stay there, and then you're going to export the same process, and then you'll export, and you have to select the root, I guess, or the model, and then export, and then you'll fill out your information, the thumbnails. This is an error for me, but yeah, I actually have the version, the author, what the description, the title is, and then you export, and then you can bring that into VCFace, or probably another studio that you have, and then you just have that. So to add the chair, how I did that, I forgot I closed Blender. what I did, that particular throne is actually here. Blender kit's not here. I gotta add that back real quick because I did factory reset and it got rid of everything. Where is Blender kit? There it is. I'm about to fix a lot of this stuff. It got rid of all my add-ons. I have a bunch of add-ons over here and it got rid of all of them. But we grab everything, delete it, and then we just come into Blender kit and look for throne. Always filter on free. And the throne, I mean, you can have this one. It's kind of, that might have actually fit better for my aesthetic, but I found this one. I thought this one was really interesting. So it's a fine golden leather throne. We go to material preview. We have this. It's not bad looking, but I don't like gold. So what I did was to shading. In the shading tab, material preview. Basically get rid of everything in here. Grab the output, bring it down, if I can grab it. And just basically get rid of everything over here. That is the wrong thing, but kind of needed that different as well. The brushed gold with imperfections. So this is a very complicated type of look and setup. It's not really that complicated, but grab the principal BSDF, move it out so we can see where it is. Grab that, move it over here. Cut everything. Push this into that. And now we have a brown looking thing. But what I did was is turn the base color to black. Metallicity is already up all the way. And then decreased roughness. So it's a shiny black metal. We go back to the punching bag. The leather, I guess. So that, we just changed the color to what we wanted it, and that's also black. That's kind of, you know, the roughness it has, metallicity, it actually looks like leather. Come into the next slot. As far as leather, there's just those little button studs. So again, slice everything off. We don't really need a bump map, but I guess we could use it anyway. And then go to black. And then we go back to layout, and that's the black throne. It's not complicated, and it's just editing stuff that you get from Blender Kit. And then we select everything, and then we export as OBJ. And yeah, the same process. So wherever you store it, it's going to be, the settings are the same. I mean, your forward axis, I don't know what the axis system is in Unity, but you can tweak these values. I'm pretty sure the up axis is a Y, but when I brought it in, it was rotated funny. So it might not be. That's not it. Where'd it go? So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. 9. I wanted the whole model gone. Okay. So yeah, when I exported it, and then you come in here and import new asset, and then you're going to find that OBJ file and then bring it in. And then it should show up down here. I guess I already rotated it. Yeah, there's the throne. And how you actually get it to, hold on, let me bring him back. Okay, how you actually get it to work, hold on. The scale is off. I don't like the fact that it's backwards. So we can adjust the scale of the object or our model and scale it up. And then go over here, transform, move it back. Then we can either move it up to meet our character, and then we have them on throne. But how they get to keep it. So we actually have the black throne. It has to be parented to the root bone. So we just drag this, drop it on top of the root, now it's parented. So if we move the model, it's going to move the throne. And so when we come into VC face, we export this as a VRM entirely like this. So that chair is part of the model now. And so we export that model, and then it'll have the throne with it. So when we get back to, you know, where'd I go? VC face, where'd you go? VC face is over here. So the VC face brings in the throne. But yeah, it's not that complicated of a process. It's actually fairly simple, but part of it is very lengthy. Like I said, renaming all those bones is a nightmare. Like if there was a script that could do that for you, that'd be really cool. But you actually have to go through there individually and rename all of the bones. and it's just irritating. It took me like maybe 10-15 minutes. Put on some music, and you just go through here. You know, do that, and then you come in here under the bones, not the other, like that one. You can just add a 1, and come down to the next one, add a 1. Just keep doing that. Get some music. It's just that annoying and painful. It's not that complicated though. I thought it was gonna be a lot more complicated, but yeah, that's basically it. I mean, it's not super complicated. It's very nice once you have it. Like I said, I've got my throne. I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate the body tracker into VC Face with the model, the new model, the new pose, because right now the bottom of the model doesn't move, so we don't need that anyway. But I do want it to work with VC Face. At the moment, it doesn't work. So in VC Face, you come into settings. So go back here, bring this back up. In settings, you have the general settings, and it's supposed to have the OSMC. Where'd it go? So OSVMC, it's supposed to push the data from the DNS body tracker into VC Face so you can move your arms, but it's not working with any of the models at the moment. I don't know why. When I turn on the OSC, my model just stops moving. And I wish that the actual like facial expressions from the body tracker actually worked with it, because I've noticed that you can't see my mouth moving usually at all when I have the body tracker on. My arms move, my fingers move, but the mouth on the model, like as you can see, does not move when I have the body tracker on, and I hate that. So, but yeah, that's all I have for this week. There's actually a lot more. I found out some stuff that you can't do in Unreal. I guess I could kind of like show what I'm talking about a little bit. Let me open up Daz real quick. As I was trying to figure out how to actually bring certain hair into Daz, and found out that there are limitations to it. I talked about this last week as far as using sockets for hair placement, and it's what I learned. Unreal is opening up, but this, I only got one hair article to actually work in Unreal, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. It was this one, the messy bun. This is the only one that I got to work. Let me open up my hair thingy. And I think I showed that. But the reason why it doesn't work with every type of hair, and it has to do with strand-based hair not having geometry. So in Unreal, where's my model? It saved it. That sucks. Okay. Go to the content drawer. Good. It's gone. The hair's gone. Import. That's not, where's the ABC file? I got rid of that. I'm not remember where I put the other one. I'll export it again. I'll actually go through the process real quick. So this actually has to be done in DAZ 3.6. That's the reason why the add-ons were gone. So Blender 3.6. Let me get rid of 4.3. I'm going to close that. So yeah, this is actually using a saved setting from Blender 4.3. So I actually have to load the factory settings for this. It never gets a little menu. Load factory settings, and then we have this. And then I already have the add-on. So go to preferences. If I can hit preferences. And look for groom. I think it's groom. No, hair. I can't spell the word hair for some reason. Open mesh hair converter. Yeah. Save preferences. And now we open that up and we have hair over here. So what we do now is go to DAZ. And we do need a scalp, technically. So we'll make one real quick. There are some of these that actually I believe have scalps with them. I think this one does. We'll bring in a Gen 9 model. Genesis 9, because all the models. This is specifically for Gen 9s. It's not for Gen 8s. The process for Gen 8s is a lot easier because the hair, I think the hair, I've done it before, but bringing a Genesis 8 model into Unreal is not that complicated. Genesis 9s are a little bit harder. It involves a few more steps, but it's the type of hair that we're actually using. So we do need a scalp. How we do that? We're just going to apply hair actually and steal a scalp from something else. So these facial dummies, I think this hair actually has it. Making a scalp is not hard either. I think I showed how to do that. Or maybe not. I don't know. I'll probably try to do it in a second then. So come down to the hair. Yeah, it has a face dummy. So the face dummy itself, that's in front of the face. So I guess we don't need that. Let me just make a scalp real quick. It's not that complicated. Just go into your geometry editor on the model. We have this. Go to selection mode, marquee. I forget, this is front. Gonna select top of the head. We don't actually have to make it perfect. You can go to geometry selection. No. Selection mode. Drag. You can be like really, oops, that was whatever. I'll just paint it. You paint it on the scalp you need. And this is gonna act as our, I can't remember what it actually does. I just know you need it. And this is going to be a test. I had a theory, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct. It does not have to be like super perfect geometry. It just has to be there. There is music playing in the background, so you're not just sitting here being bored. Granted, this is probably a little bit longer than it should be, but I've done this process a few times. It's not super long like it took me the first time to do it. We're just gonna go with that. It's closed off. It's close enough. It's just an example. So we take this, go to geometry editing? No. Geometry selection. Yeah, invert selection, and then back to geometry editing and delete geometry, or delete selected polygons. And then we're gonna get rid of the eyes, ears, everything. And this is what's left of our Genesis 9 model. It'll delete it in a second. Okay, so we get rid of everything in here. And the eyebrows. And now we have a scalp left. So this is our, it's called a hair cap. But now we're going to apply hair. So our messy bun is going to go on the hair, or on the head. And it should show up normally. Yeah. So this is our hair cap. We take this, export this as an OBJ. You could probably do as FBX, but we're going to call this as OBJ, and we're just going to call it, I think I deleted everything. Hair. Demo. And in here, triangulate ingons, remove unused. You can use these settings. It's basically just kind of 1%, so we move it into Blender, because we're going to Blender first. So we go to Blender 3.6, and then we're going to import our hair. So it's an OBJ, hair demo OBJ. Setting, okay, so our forward axis is not -Z. Our up axis is Z in here. And then our forward axis is going to be negative Y. I think it's negative Y. But validate meshes, we do want to do that, so. Okay, so the process for this is not complicated. We want to come over to this. We grab the hair first, shift select the scalp inside, and then convert. It's literally that easy. And it does that every time with that thing. We disconnect the hair, and then under render, we don't show the emitter. We'll see if this works, because I didn't do it like this last time, and that hair scalp didn't work like that. So this is what's called a groom hair. We can actually take this. That's the original, and we're actually exporting this. So I think the hair is actually kind of part of that. Because yeah, that's the entire model. So we're going to export this. We go into export, and we're going to export a limbic. And this is going to be put in hair. This is going to be a hair demo. And we want no animation, so take that back to 1. We want scale of 1, instancing selected objects only. We could do visible objects as well. UVs, curves mesh. That might be something we need. It may not work. This may explode. This is just the particle system, export hair and particles. But we're going to do that. And we export the Alembic. This is going to be in New Series Destination. Okay, so I know where it is. We come back to Unreal. That shouldn't take long. It's not animating. Where's Unreal? There it is. And we're going to import from C, New Saves, DAS to Unreal, and then in hair. I was already there, dummy. Okay, so here's our Alembic file. And you should get a window. I'm pretty sure this is going to error out, but... Okay, we get groom. So it's supposed to be this. And we have to rotate 90 degrees on the X and then negative scale to -1 on the Y. And this will bring in the groom hair. And it'll look like this. This is what it should look like. And we just drag it into the scene. It's not visible. Of course it's not. Or, where is it? I've seen in certain cases it's scaled up like massively huge. I guess this one's just not visible. But where's the other one? Here to that one, but that's the process to bring it in. I didn't save that. Where's my... Go back to my third person. My blueprints. Go up here, go to the viewport. I had this set up. There's the groom hair. Why does it look invisible? And why is it all the way down there? I'll have to fix this like at some point, but that's the process to get it in there. But it actually did show up as groom. You'd actually, I think, if I can find it, you go to the hair itself, open it. Let's look for visibility. Force visible. It looks like there's something there, but I can't see it. It may be scaled incorrectly. Trans, cards, meshes. But anyway, the whole point of this is that if you do this with a different type of hair, it doesn't work. So in DAZ, this is a strand-based, or not strand-based hair. This is a hair card. So hair cards do work, but all of the rest of this hair that I have in here is not hair cards. This is strand-based hair that you create the same way as, let me hide this. The hell? Oh. Here I have a new model. So a Genesis 9 model. A strand-based hair is when we actually create, you know, that one type of hair where we paint it on. So I know I've showed this before, but that's a strand-based hair. It's not realistic. It can't be manipulated. There's no mesh to it. There's no solid structure. So in Blender, if you delete all the vertices, that's 4-3. If we actually hide this, bring this back, there is geometry to this. So if we were to go into edit mode, grab all of it and clean up the mesh, delete unused, or clean up, delete loose. See, it didn't really delete anything. But if I were to do this with a different type of hair, back to DAZ, and we'll apply, back to content library, we'll apply, let's just say, the one that I tried it with was the FE Soul. So this is strand-based hair. So if we actually export this, so I'm going to export the hair. Just the hair. So we're going to export as an OBJ. And we're going to bring it into Blender. Get out of edit mode. Hide that. Import. OBJ. Here, wrong object. Everything's the same. Okay, so it actually exported the whole model. Didn't need the whole model. But we're gonna get rid of her. And where the eyebrows go? Eyebrow cards. Okay, so the hair itself, if we go into edit mode, and we grab all of the vertices and we go to mesh, clean up, delete loose, it deletes all the hair because it's not real. It's, the word is procedural. It is procedurally generated. So it is not the same thing as a hair card. We can't manipulate the geometry. And this converter, the groom converter, needs physical geometry it can actually, not realistic, this plane of existence physical, but it needs hair cards it can use. And it can't do that. And I learned this, and back and forth with some AIs trying to figure out why this kept, why it wouldn't work, why I pulled it into Unreal and it disappeared. This is why. It's because it was never real in the first place. In DAZ, yeah, it looks great and renders out nicely. See if it'll blow up and lag out. it renders, but there's nothing there in reality. But, because, I mean, it'll render in Blender too. If I bring it back, I think I bring it back. Okay, last time I did something and it crashed Blender one time. Oh, I think that had to do with the hair converter. But if we put this in rendered mode, it'll render. There's something there. If I put lighting on it, I can't see the light thingy. There it is. Increase the light to about 1,000. Huh, that's weird. There's no light at all. It's showing on that. Maybe that's why it's kind of invisible. Is lighting the hair tie, is that the only thing with actual physical geometry? Interesting. Oh well, but yeah, that's what I learned this last week. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them below. I'll see you next week. I'm trying to figure out how to get this stuff to actually work in Unreal. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.